Hey guys, and welcome to week 8 of the P4G Next Generation. This week we're facing off against Moxie Boosted and his Chicago Blackflock. But anyway though, let's dive into his team right now, and it is actually really scary. He has a really cool sun, well, not really sun team, but it has some sun elements in it, so it is actually really cool. I really like it. So first off, he has Heatran. Heatran is just a really good Pokemon. It has just good typing. It can be offensive, defensive, it gets rocks, it's immune to fire in Flash Fire. Yeah, just such a good Pokemon. I think he's definitely gonna bring it because I have Latios and it resists both of Latios' stab, so yeah, that is pretty important, I guess. So yeah, I'm pretty scared of Heatran. That thing is just so versatile. I really don't know what kind of Heatran he would bring. Maybe specially defensive to take moves from Latios better, but I could also see maybe an offensive set with I don't know, Magma Storm or something. Yeah, it's definitely a big threat to my team. Next up is Nihilego. Nihilego is another mon I'm really scared of, because it's a Pokemon that is pretty good at revenge killing, and once it is able to kill a Pokemon and get a attack boost because of its Beast Boost ability, it can pretty much snowball and sweep you. So yeah, that is really scary. I don't really have a lot of switch-ins for it. I have pretty much only one, and that is Empoleon. But Nihilego does get Thunderbolt, and that hits Empoleon, so yeah, I'm really scared of it. A Choice Scarf set could really put in work against my team. Next is Fortress. Fortress is a really good defensive mon. It gets Rapid Spin, it gets Spikes, Rocks. It also gets Volt Switch, so that is pretty cool. So yeah, Fortress, I do think he's gonna bring it just to take moves from Lopunny, since Fortress has really good defense. Fortress also takes Psychic type moves and Dragon type moves from Latios, so yeah, Fortress is definitely a mon he could bring. He's also got Slowking. Slowking is a really good mon. It can be really bulky when you give it an AV. So yeah, it's pretty hard to take down then with special attacks. It also has the Regenerator ability, so in combination with AV, it's just so hard to take down because it can just switch out and recover its HP. It also gets Slack off, so when you don't run AV, it gets recovery in that. So yeah, I do think he's gonna bring Slowking. Because it also takes moves from Latios pretty well, especially when you give it an AV. Next is Hitmontop. Hitmontop is a really cool Pokemon in my opinion. It gets Rapid Spin. It has a ton of priority actually with Mach Punch. I think it gets Bullet Punch, Sucker Punch of course, Fake Out. And adding to that, it also has the Technician ability, boosting those type of moves, well except Sucker Punch of course. So yeah, it is a pretty cool Pokemon as I said. It also has the Intimidate ability, a really useful ability. So yeah, Hitmontop is a potential Pokemon he could bring. I'm not really sure though, because I do have Latios, but it also gets Pursuit, I'm pretty sure, so yeah, he might bring it. Next is Palossand. Palossand is another really cool mon. It is pretty defensive, but I'm pretty sure it also has reasonable attack. It gets Recovery and Shore Up, a really good move, and it also has the Water Compaction ability, which basically gives it a defense boost when it's hit by a water type move, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's a pretty cool ability. I think it also gets Stealth Rock, so it's another rocker on his team. Not sure if he's gonna bring it though, but it's definitely a possibility. Now though we get to his Mega Pokemon, and that is Mega Charizard Y, so this is where the Sun team comes into play. Charizard Y is just such a monster. It just has very few switch-ins to Sun boosted Fire Blasts. Well, that pretty much destroys anything. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring this thing. It just hits my team so hard, it's so scary, and yeah, since his team is kinda built around Sun, I think he just has to bring it. Another monster he has is Tapu Bulu. This thing is actually pretty interesting on his team, because he does have the Heatran and the Nihilego, which are 4 times weak to, well, Earthquakes, and Tapu Bulu has the Grassy Surge ability, which has the damage taken from Earthquakes, so that is a pretty cool combination, I really like it. But what I don't like is facing Tapu Bulu, because that thing just hits so hard. It just has very few switch-ins, just like Charizard Y. A Banded Wood Hammer pretty much destroys everything. It just hits so hard with the grassy terrain. I'm really scared of it. So yeah, I'm really sure he's gonna bring this thing. Next up is Slurpuff. Slurpuff is actually another mon I'm pretty scared of. It gets the Sticky Web move. Yeah. It gets Sticky Web. In Ultra Sun and Moon, it's a new move to the move, so that is pretty scary. I don't think he's gonna bring Sticky Web, because I do have the Bisharp with Defiant, and he might not want me to get this attack boost, so he might want to refrain from running Sticky Web, but if he doesn't run Sticky Web, he could also just run a Belly Drum set with Citrus with the Unburden ability. That is also really scary, and I'm pretty sure once my team is weakened, he could just go for that and sweep my team. Another scary mon is Noivern. Noivern is a really fast dragon type. It hits really hard with choice packs. Gets several good moves like Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Draco Meteor, Hurricane Air Slash. It also gets U-turn, so it does have that going for it, I guess. He could bring Noivern since it outspeeds Latios, so I do have to watch out for that. Next though is Victory Bell. Victory Bell is a really, well, it fits his team because it's a Chlorophyll user. So in the sun it gets a speed boost with the Chlorophyll ability, so that is pretty cool. He could bring it, but I don't think he's gonna bring it. I just feel like it doesn't really have the best matchup against my team, but maybe, who knows. As for his Z Crystal, it's the Gracium Z. It just fits his team really well. It allows Bulu just to go for a Bloom Doom, as the Bloom Doom pretty much kills everything. It also allows Heatran to go for a Z Solar Beam, so that is pretty cool. And of course, when that is boosted by the grassy terrain, it is even harder, so yeah, Gracium Z is pretty scary on his team. But now that we talked about his team, let's go talk about my team, I guess. So starting things off, I'm bringing Lopunny this week. I feel like Lopunny has a pretty good matchup against his team. Lopunny outspeeds his entire team aside from Scarf users, so that is really nice. We're bringing Low Kick though instead of the High Jump Kick, because I don't want to miss High Jump Kick, and I could see him run Protect Heatran just just as a kind of counter to High Jump Kick Lopunny. So that is why I'm running Low Kick. Low Kick still has a base power of 120 when facing Heatran, so it does kind of lack power, but it is still able to OHKO a non-Fist Death Heatran. As for my normal type move, it just Return, but I'm also bringing Fire Punch for the Fortress, and especially when the sun is up, Fire Punch will hurt a lot, so that is really nice. I'm also bringing Power Up Punch because I feel like once I am able to get off a Power Up Punch and get a +1 attack boost, Lopunny might actually really be able to put in work, since he doesn't really have a good switch in for this thing at all. So yeah, that's it for Lopunny's moves. As for its EVs, I'm bringing enough speed to outspeed Noivern by 1 point, and I put the remainder just in attack and HP. So yeah, that's it for Lopunny. Next up is Latios. We're bringing an Assault Vest Latios this week. So kinda different than usual, because I want to take hits from Charizard better. I also noticed that he does have a lot of special attackers on his team, so I kinda wanted to take advantage of that and run Assault Vest on my mons. So yeah, Assault Vest Latios for that. Surf is there to hit the Heatran, because otherwise I wouldn't have, well, anything to hit that thing hard. Surf is able to hit KO this Heatran when the sun isn't up, so that is really nice. Ice Beam is there to hit the Bulu, and well, it also hits Noivern and the Pedal Sand, so that is nice. Psyshock is there because it's good stab against his team. It hits Hitmontop as well as Nihilego. And HP Fire is there to hit the Fortress. It is able to OHKO Fortress, so that is really nice. So that thing can't really reliably switch into my moves and afterwards take an HP Fire. Unless that thing is Oka Berry, then I'm pretty sure he might live HP Fire. So yeah, that's it for Latios. As for its EVs, I'm bringing enough speed to outspeed Nihilego, max attack, and the remainder just put in HP also allows us to take moves from Charizard better. So I think Latios actually eats 3 sun boosted Fire Blast from Charizard Y, which is really cool. The only problem would be if Charizard runs Dragon Pulse, but I am still able to take 2 of those, I'm pretty sure. Next though is, what's it called? Lumiere the Chandelure. As I said, he doesn't really have a good Ghost switch, and he has 0 Ghost resist or, and immunities. So Specs Chandelure can really put in work against his team. Specs Shadow Ball pretty much 2-hit KOs everything on his team and OHKOs the frail ones. So that is really useful. Flamethrower is there, well, to hit Fortress, and well, mons that aren't Heatran. I don't really need to run Fire Blast because, well, A, I don't want to miss, and B, Flamethrower get boosted in the sun, so yeah, the extra power from Fire Blast wasn't really necessary, I feel like. So yeah, Shadow Ball, as I said, hits everything on his team. And HP Ground is there for the Heatran, well, also the Nihilego. HP Ground will be able to OHKO Heatran from full, that is really nice. And I'm also bringing Trick, in case I just want to get rid of my choice packs, I can just go for that. I am bringing Flash Fire because Chandelure is, well, pretty much my best switch into Charizard's moves, because its Fire type moves won't hit me and Solar Beam does pretty much nothing. The only problem would be if Charizard run Earthquake, or I think it gets Rock Slide. So yeah, that would be a problem. But yeah, let's hope he doesn't. As for our EVs, we're bringing enough speed to outspeed Timid Heatran, max attack, and the remainder was a spread over or across HP, defense and SPDF. Next up is Empoleon. This Empoleon set is actually a pretty special set, as you guys can see. We're bringing leftovers. Originally I was running AV on Empoleon, but I really needed a rocker since it is important against his Charizard. And I couldn't fit Stealth Rock on any of my other mons, so yeah, Empoleon it is, I guess. Leftovers with Earthquake actually. Earthquake Oko, well, not Okos the Heatran, but I think it does 2-hit KO him. It does Oko the Nihilego though, so that is really nice. So yeah, Earthquake is there for that. Rock Slide is there for the Charizard Y. It doesn't Oko him either, but it still does a lot. Roar is there to phase out the potential SD Bulu. But mainly the Slurpuff. If that thing wants to go for a belly drum in my face, I can just roar that thing out and pretty much render that thing useless. And of course, as I said, Stealth Rock because I needed a rocker. Oh yeah, I also got the Defiant ability because, well, first of all, Torrent wasn't necessary since I don't run any water type moves, but Defiant is also pretty useful. If he does run Sticky Web on Slurpuff, I do get a attack boost, which will help Earthquake and Rock Slide out. And he also has the Intimidate from Hitmontop, so that might be useful, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if we can get to use Defiant, but in any case, it is more useful than Torrent on this set. As for our EVs, we're bringing max HP. I did put 52 in defense, because that way I do live a Wood Hammer from Jolly Bulu in grassy terrain, so that might be useful. And I just put the remainder in SPDF just to take moves from Nihilego better, because Empoleon is pretty much my best thing I have for Nihilego. Next though is making its debut, Jacko the Gourgeist. I forgot the Pokemon's name. But we're bringing Gourgeist for the first time this season. I really needed to bring Gourgeist because it's my best switch into Bulu. It is my designated switch to Bulu, so I needed to bring this thing. We're just bringing max HP, max defense, take moves from Bulu the best we can with a bold nature. As for our moves, we're bringing Flamethrower since that hits the Bulu, as well as the Fortress. Will-O-Wisp is there to, well, cripple the Bulu really. Synthesis is really useful. It also heals more because of the sun, so that is also nice. Leech Seed is there of course as well, just to wear down his team and get some more recovery. So yeah, first time we're bringing Gourgeist. I really hope it will put in some work against his team, would be really nice. But last but not least, we're bringing Gliscor again, with Earthquake, Toxic, Defog and Poison Jab. I needed to bring Toxic really because it is a way to help wear down the Palossand as well as the Slowking, since those two might be really hard to take down. I also brought Defog just to get rid of hazards the Fortress might want to set up against me. Poison Jab is there to hit the Bulu pretty hard. It doesn't Oko him, but I think it does around 80%, so that is really nice. As for EVs, just a standard HP spread. We're bringing enough speed to outspeed Timid Heatran, yeah. So we can just Oko that thing with EQ, so that is nice. And I put the remainder in SPDF to take moves from Heatran better. As well as, not really sure what else, but I just thought SPDF investment would be more helpful than defense's investment. Oh yeah, SPDF investment also helps against the Palossand, so that is pretty nice. But yeah, that's it for the team. I really hope we'll be able to grab a W, so yeah, let's get right to the match. Okay, so here's the battle. First, a thank you to Blue Rogue for joining my team and recording this match for me. I also want to quickly mention that I changed my Empoleon setup a bit. I originally had Leftovers and Roar, but I changed this for Choppleberry and Flash Cannon after the team builder last minute. Because I thought Choppleberry would be more useful, because it allows Empoleon to take superpowers from what's it called, Bulu better, as well as Drain Punch from potentially +6 Slurpuff after a belly drum, and I could hit him hard afterwards with a Flash Cannon, so I thought that would help as well. So yeah, I did that. Now though, let's have a look at the team my opponent brought this week. He brought a lot of things I expected, the Hitmontop, Parascent, Bulu, Slurpuff, Zard Y and the Nihilego. Not sure how that thing is pronounced, but he didn't bring the Heatran though, so that was something I was really surprised about. I didn't see a Fortress either, so that was also kind of surprising, but especially the Heatran was really surprising to me. Because that thing would handle Lali, well, pretty well, and yeah, I just really prepped a lot for that thing, so it was kind of surprising to not see it in the team preview. But choosing my lead, I decided to lead Latios because I felt like it would be the best lead against a potential Zard Y lead, because otherwise I wouldn't really have a good switch in aside from Latios and Chandelure, and well, Charizard couldn't really touch Latios, especially since I'm AV. But also I watched his previous matches, and in most of them he led with Hitmontop, trying to go for a fake out, and I also thought this would be the case in this match, because it would also kind of counter a Mega Lopunny lead. So that is what I decided to do. I led off with Latios, as he does lead off with his Hitmontop, so I did get the prediction right, so that is a pretty good lead for me, because I can just force this thing out with a Psyshock. A Sucker Punch, I mean, from this thing would kinda hurt, but I was willing to take the damage and go for a Psyshock. He did reveal the Intimidate ability as well, so that was good to know, but he does switch out right here into his Maui, the Parascent. So as you guys can see, Psyshock does a reasonable amount to this thing, about 30%, so that isn't too bad. According to my calcs, I could knock this thing out with a Surf or Ice Beam, but I didn't want to risk this thing being Assault Vest and get my Latios damaged, as I need Latios healthy to, well, take care of Zard Y better. So I switched out into the Gliscor to take whatever move he wanted to throw at me, because Gliscor would be able to take that. But he decided to just set up his rocks, which is fine with me. I decided to put this thing on a timer with Toxic, because I know how annoying this thing can be, especially if it has Shore Up. So I went for the Toxic. This thing is finally Toxic, which is nice. And speaking of Shore Up, he does go for the Shore Up right now. So he is recovering all of his HP, but this does reveal that he isn't, or confirm rather, that he isn't Assault Vest, so well, that kinda sucked again, because I could have just attacked it with Latios, but hindsight 2020, he switches out right here because I think he can't really touch me, and goes into Nihilego, and that was actually a pretty risky play in my opinion, because I could have just went for EQ and, well, knocked this thing out. But I went for Defog instead, just to get rid of his rocks. So again, that was a really risky play. I go for EQ right now, because unless he's Choice Specs or something like that, I will be able to lift the HP Ice and knock this thing out with the EQ. But he does switch out right here into the Hitmontop, so I am able to damage that thing somewhat, but because I was intimidated, it doesn't do too much. I think I go for the Toxic right here, because I really want to put this Hitmontop on a timer as well, because that thing can be really hard to take down if I don't have my Latios anymore. So I went for the Toxic right here, but he just goes back into the Nihilego again, just to take the Toxic. I switch out right here instead of staying in, because he could actually be Specs, and I didn't want to lose my Gliscor, so I just switched into my Empoleon, take whatever move he wanted to throw at me, but he does reveal the HP Ice, and as you guys can see, it does absolutely nothing. So he switches out right here as I go for a... I think I set up my rocks actually, just to... Well, it will be really useful against his team, because he has a Zard Y, which takes half damage from the rocks. He intimidates me, which activates my Defiant, so I do reveal that ability, but that isn't too big of a problem. I go for rocks, as I said. But now I have to switch out, because I don't want to take a close combat from this thing, and I also kind of predict him to go for the Rapid Spin. So I decide to go into my Gourgeist on this thing, because, well, Rapid Spin won't affect me, because I'm a Ghost type, so rocks will stay up. So in comes my Gourgeist, making its field debut, I guess, as I frisk the leftovers, which was already confirmed. But he actually reveals the Foresight right here, so that was a really cool tech move, because he's able to, well, attack me right now. He gains some more leftovers recovery. I think I switch out right here, because I want to scout for the Toxic. So I go back into my Gliscor, because I'm pretty certain he can't really do anything to Gliscor. So in comes my Gliscor again, as Hitmontop does reveal the Toxic, so really good that really glad I mean that I switched out. I think I go for the Toxic right here, because I want to put this thing on a timer, but he just switches out again and goes into the Parascent, which is already Toxic, so yeah, it just fails. So yeah, in comes the Palisand. Oh, I actually don't go for Toxic. I thought I went for Toxic, but I went for the EQ in case he wanted to go into the Nihilego again, but of course he wouldn't, because that would be kind of risky. So yeah, Palisand takes a solid amount from his EQ. I think I go for the Toxic now though, as he goes into this Barako Bulu, or I just EQ actually. It's been, well, it's not really been a long time since I played this match, but I can't really remember every turn anymore. So in comes the Barako Bulu just to take whatever move I want to throw at him, I mean. So I went for the EQ, but because of the Grassy Surge and, well, because it's resisted, it does absolutely nothing. So yeah, this Bulu just recovers most of its HP with the Grassy Terrain, but here I actually throw off my, my Poison Jab, because there is a chance I will knock this thing out, but unfortunately for me, he does live on the slightest amount of HP, like 1 or something, so that really sucked. He went for the Brutal Swing right here, so he predicted my switch into the Goor, guys, but I went for Poison Jab, and unfortunately, as I said, it wasn't able to knock this thing out. I just go for a second Poison Jab right here, because, well, it will kill the Bulu, but he just decides to preserve his Bulu, which is really smart, go back into Hitmontop. So I was really hoping I wouldn't poison him right here with the Poison Jab, because I'd rather Toxic this thing, because that will rack up. So I go for the Poison Jab right here. Isn't gonna do much because of the Intimidate. Luckily for me, I don't get the poison, so that's really fortunate. However, he is able to recover most of his HP again because of the leftovers and the Grassy Terrain. This turn I think I go for the Toxic, because I really want to Toxic this thing, but this time he stays in. So that is really nice for me. I am able to land my Toxic and, well, put this thing on a timer, which is really huge, because that thing is kind of a problem to deal with. He goes for the Rapid Spin this turn just to get rid of the rocks. So while my rocks are gone, I was able to, well, Toxic this Hitmontop, which is really important for me. So he's pretty much up to full again, but yeah, as I said, this thing is Toxic, so he will lose some HP. I'm pretty certain again that he can't touch me, so I think I just go for the EQ. No, actually I think I double Toxic right here, because I'm predicting the switch into, well, most likely the Charizard, because the EQ is pretty obvious. So I went for Toxic right here, as he does in fact go into the Charizard, so I did get the prediction right. Charizard is now put on a timer as well, which is really helpful. I have to switch out though, because I can't allow Gliscor to get killed by a Sun Boosted Flamethrower or Fire Blast. So I go into my Latios right here, because I'm Assault Vest. I will be able to take a Fire Blast reasonably well, but he actually switches out right here into his Nihilego, so he was probably predicting my switch into, I think the Chandelure, but I went into Latios, so that is really nice for me, because I am able to again threaten his team with a Psyshock. He doesn't really have a good switch in for this thing, so I go for the Psyshock right here, as he decides to go into his Palisand again. Psyshock will be able to put this thing down really low, in the red at least, and the Toxic damage will also put him really low. So yeah, one more Psyshock will knock him out. I just go for another one, and he decides to stay in, so he sacks his Palisand, so Latios is able to snag a kill right here and knock his Palisand out, which is really nice for me. However, what isn't nice for me is that he is able to get in his Slurpuff right now and just go for a Belly Drum really. So I pretty much have to stay in, try to damage this thing, and I go for the Psyshock right here, and I am able to get a crit. And that is actually really huge, because in a minute you guys can see he recovers his HP with a Citrus Berry, but because of the crit he is out of range for a Belly Drum to work. So yeah, that really sucked for him, otherwise he would have been able to get off a Belly Drum, get at +6, and, well, I'm pretty sure he could actually sweep my team at that point. So this is really fortunate for me that I got a crit, but really unfortunate for my opponent. He kills my Latios with a Play Rough though, and I am able to get in my Chandelure right now. He doesn't really have a good switch in for this thing. So I go for the Shadow Ball right here, as he decides to set up his Sticky Web. So that is pretty nice for him actually. I wasn't really expecting the Sticky Web, but unfortunately for me he did have it. I am able to knock the Slurpuff out with a Shadow Ball though, so that is nice. But Sticky Webs are up, and he is able to get in his Nihilego right now, so I have to switch. So yeah, him having webs up really sucks for me, because, well, Lopunny will get its speed dropped, and, well, Bulu will really be able to put in work, because Bulu is now pretty much able to outspeed the majority of my team. I went into the Empoleon because he had Nihilego in, but he makes a really good double, goes into the Tapu Bulu. This turn actually I kinda misplay really, because I decide to stay in right here and go for the flash cannon because I was really thinking he would go for superpower and I would have the Chopple Berry. I don't know why I didn't go into the Gourgeist because I specifically brought Gourgeist to switch into Bulu's move. But I decided to stay in for some reason. He goes for the Horn Leech, puts me down really low. And yeah, he's able to recover most of its HP as I go for the flash cannon right here. So I really hope Flash Cannon will knock this thing out, because otherwise Empoleon would have taken damage for nothing. But again, Bulu lives on like 1 HP again, and he's able to live. And yeah, Poseidon is now really low because of my stupidity, so I decided to just sack it off because Empoleon was really only there to switch into Nihilego, and well, it can't really do that anymore because I was stupid and wasted it. So Empoleon goes down and should have just went into the Gourgeist. I don't know why I didn't go into it because Bulu is still alive, and yeah, I pretty much lost my Empoleon for no reason at all. I decided to go into my Gliscor right here because it isn't affected by Sticky Web and I can just threaten it with a Poison Jab. He decides to switch out right here into his Inferno the Charizard as I go for Poison Jab, which is able to do a decent amount. But I pretty much have to switch out again because I can't lose Gliscor, especially since I need to get rid of his webs. I probably should have went for webs actually this turn instead, go for Poison Jab, but I really wanted to get rid of the Bulu. So yeah, I go into the Chandelure right here because it can take a Solar Beam and well, also Fire type moves because of my Flash Fire ability. So yeah, he Mega Evolves right here finally. I really hope he doesn't go for EQ or Rock Slide because that would be kind of problematic. But as you guys can see, as the Drought activates, of course, he goes for the Overheat. So yeah, that is really fortunate for me. Luckily I went into the Lumiere and he luckily didn't go for EQ or Rock Slide. So Lumiere takes nothing from the Overheat. And now I'm pretty much able to kill something with a Shadow Ball because again, he doesn't really have a switching for this thing. He reveals the Dragon Pulse right here, so he did have something for Latios. Dragon Pulse is gonna do a solid amount, but I am able to just go for the Shadow Ball right here and knock this Charizard out, so one huge threat is finally gone. So that is really huge for me. But now in comes the Barako Bulu, and because of the Sticky Webs, he is able to outspeed me. I stay in right here because I was pretty certain he would go for the Brutal Swing, so there wasn't really a point in going into Gourgeist, but he actually goes for the Horn Leech right here. So I could have went into Gourgeist, but I just thought the Brutal Swing was pretty obvious. I'm not really sure why he didn't go for Brutal Swing. I think he just wanted the HP back, which is also pretty smart, but he is able to kill my Chandelure. I think I was just into range of getting killed. But now I go into my Gourgeist, because he can't really touch me, and I can just Will-O-Wisp it or go for Flamethrower. I frisk the Choice Band right here. So I actually found out right now that he was Choice Banded because of the Frisk. I probably should have known this already because Horn Leech did so much to my Empoleon as well as to my Chandelure, I mean. I go for the Leech Seed right here on a switch. I was predicting him to switch because, well, he was locked into the Horn Leech and that wouldn't do too much to Jacko, so I predicted the switch into something, went for Leech Seed, and I catch the Nihilego. In Nihilego reveals not reveals, he already went for it, but goes for the HP Ice right here as I burn this thing just to do some chip damage on this thing, which is really nice. I also went for the Will-O-Wisp in case he wanted to go back into the Tapu Bulu or something, so that would be pretty helpful. But the Gourgeist is pretty much able to 1v1 this Nihilego because HP Ice won't kill me. I am out of range of another HP Ice, and I am able just to go for Synthesis this turn and pretty much stall this thing out because it's seeded, it's burned, so it will die eventually, so that is pretty nice. So after all the chip damage and all the recovery, I am able to go for the Synthesis as he goes for another HP Ice. So I'm kinda thinking this thing is actually Choice Scarf because he goes for another HP Ice, I mean. So I will go for Synthesis. Unfortunately for me, the sun isn't up anymore, so I won't recover as much as I would otherwise do, but it's still a solid amount, and thanks to the grassy terrain, Gourgeist is really healthy along with the leftovers. After this turn though, I go for the Flamethrower because I kinda want to attack this thing, do some more chip damage on it, and if he wants to go into Bulu, that thing will get very weakened as well, so that is also really nice. There was pretty much no drawback play in going for Flamethrower, so I go for the Flamethrower right here as he switches out this turn, I believe. Yeah, he does. He switches into his Capoeira, the Hitmontop, as I fire off the Flamethrower, so I do some chip damage off, I get some chip damage off on this thing, I mean. Flamethrower isn't gonna do too much, but damage is damage, I guess. After this turn, I'm not really sure what I do. I think I switch into Gliscor because I'm again certain he can't touch Gliscor. So yeah, after all this, all these shenanigans of healing up and getting damage off with the Toxic, I finally switch out right here into my Gliscor as he goes for the... I think he goes for the Toxic right here, or the Foresight, one of those two. He goes for the Toxic, but of course it doesn't work on Gliscor. And now I am finally able to get off a defog and finally get rid of these webs, because I really need to get rid of those for Lopunny to put in work. So he goes into the Bulu right here, could have went for Poison Jab, but I needed to get rid of the sticky webs because those things were just really annoying. So I get off the defog, which is really nice. The webs are finally gone. I think I also get rid of my rocks. I'm not sure if I even had rocks up. Apparently I didn't, so never mind that. Webs are gone though, which is really nice, so there's no drawback in going for Poison Jab, but he predicts that goes into the Nihilego. Could have went for EQ, but I wanted to get rid of the Bulu, and Poison Jab will still be able to kind of damage the Nihilego. So Poison Jab is doing nothing, but he is burnt though, so that kind of negates the grassy terrain. Here though I decide to just stay in and go for the EQ. I am able to live on HP Ice unless this thing is specs, but I was kind of thinking this thing would be Choice Scarf. He actually goes for the Sludge Wave though, predicting my switch into, I guess, Gourgeist to hit me harder. But he went for Sludge Wave, I stayed in, did nothing, and EQ is able to knock this Nihilego out, so that is really nice for me. Nihilego was such a big threat to the team, and well, for a second I was really scared it would kind of sweep me once my Empoleon was gone, but it's finally down luckily, and now he's only left with his Hitmontop and his Bulu. So I go for the Poison Jab right here as he switches out into the Hitmontop, so he kind of wants to intimidate me, which might allow him to live a Poison Jab with Bulu. So that is his plan, but there's really no drawback play in staying in and go for Poison Jab, because Hitmontop can't touch me, and if he wants to go into Bulu I will be able to OHKO it, if not 2-hit KO it. So yeah, there's really no drawback play into staying in and going for Poison Jab, because eventually I will be able to beat this Hitmontop, especially since it's also Toxic. So I go for the Poison Jab right here as he, not sure what he does. So yeah, Poison Jab does a solid amount. He goes for the Foresight actually, in case I wanted to go into the Gourgeist. But as I said earlier, there is really no other play than staying in and going for Poison Jab, because it is my best play. There wasn't really any way I was going to switch out right here. Poison Heal heals me all the way up, so that is really nice. And yeah, Hitmontop is eventually gonna die, so another Poison Jab is coming his way. I think he actually switches out this turn. Yeah, he does switch out into the Bulu, so Poison Jab should be able to knock out his Bulu, even though it's pretty high HP because of all the Horn Leech recovery and the Grassy Surge recovery, or Grassy Terrain I mean. So I go for the Poison Jab, but as you guys can see, because of the Intimidate he is able to live this Poison Jab, which was kinda a bummer, but I can just go for a second Poison Jab to knock this thing out if he wants to go into the Hitmontop. That thing will eventually die, but he decides to stay in and sacks his Tapu Bulu, so Bulu is down and now he's only left with his Hitmontop. And yeah, there's pretty much no way he can win anymore, because as I said numerous times already, Hitmontop can't touch Gliscor. He intimidates me again though, so I'm now at -2, so I actually switch out right here because I want to hit harder with EQ. And I also kind of wanted to stall out the Grassy Terrain, because EQ will get, what's it called, get weakened by that. So yeah, in comes my Jacko. He decided to go for the Mach Punch, so that makes me think that is his only fighting stab, because otherwise he probably would have went for close combat. So yeah, that thing is getting more and more weakened. I think I go for the Leech Seed here actually before switching out into the Gliscor, because Leech Seed will wear this thing down even faster and make this battle end fast. Well, not really actually, because it gives us more animations, Leech Seed, Grassy Terrain and Toxic. So yeah, a lot of animations, so maybe I didn't fasten the process. Who knows, I guess. But yeah, this thing is now seeded. It is also Toxic, so yeah, this thing will eventually die down, and yeah, there's pretty much no way I will lose this game. I am going to switch out back into the Gliscor again, because this thing is now toxic and I really don't want to have Gourgeist die. I want to preserve the 3-0. So I go back into the Gliscor as he goes for the foresight, wanting to attack me, but of course that doesn't matter. So a few more EQs will finish this thing off, and yeah, that will be the game. He's getting more and more weakened, as I said. I'm kind of stalling this commentary right now because it's taking well, kind of a while because of all those animations. I think the Grassy Surge actually ends this turn. Yeah, the grass disappeared from the battlefield, so now I am able to go for a neutral EQ. From this range it should kill. He goes for the Mach Punch for the final amount of chip damage, but that does nothing to my Gliscor, and I am able to knock this thing out with the EQ. And yeah, that is GG to Moxie Boosted. So that was a really good game. We managed to snag a 3-0 win against the Chicago Blackflock. So now we move 6-2, I believe. So now we are guaranteed for a positive record, so that was really nice. But to reflect on this battle, the crit on the Slurpuff, that definitely sucked. That was a really huge turn, and it definitely shifted well, the momentum kind of in my favor, because otherwise the Slurpuff would have been able to get off the belly drum, be at +6, and I'm pretty sure he actually might have been able to sweep me from there, because I didn't really have anything that would be able to stop that thing. Well, maybe my Chandelure, but I am kind of certain he would knock me out with a +6 play rough. So yeah, that really sucked my opponent. But yeah, aside from that turn, I really think this was still a good game. Definitely go check out Moxie Boosted's channel, it's in the description down below. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you liked this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!